welcome to episode 47 of Ring Talk, the weekly Goodwin boxing show, which won't be here next week because you're off
all the week after.
All the week after, yeah. So myself, Martin Theobald, and with Steve Goodwin. You're off next week, aren't you?
Off on Saturday, so I'm back on the first Tuesday of February to do the next Ring Talk. So we're doing a bit of a tour of Canada and America.
Yeah.
The whole concept was that I think, I preach loyalty for everybody, don't I? That's one of my things. And when I started off in boxing, the first person one of the first people I met was Micky Amoo, and we went out for dinner literally in 2010.
What was the reason that you met Micky?
Well, he rang me. He was starting off as a manager. I was starting off as a promoter. Both of us were clueless. so he rang me up.
Blind leading the blind.
So he said about meeting up. So we went and had a meal somewhere in Essex. I can't remember where it was now. We went and had a meal. We got on like a house on fire. And he came to my first show, and he then started signing his fighters. And since then, we've had a really good friendship as well as a business relationship. All of his fighters have always fought on our shows. We've helped him with everything we possibly can. When Richard Commey wanted to win the Commonwealth title, he fought his final eliminator and Commonwealth title on our show, done a 6th round on our show. We helped to build Richard Commey just in the UK with a bit of profile. And Micky has done a sensational job as a manager with him. And he's now got him with a good promoter in Lou DiBella, who's given him home advantage for a world title. And I want to go out and support Micky and Richard. So I'm taking obviously my wife, Joshua, Olivia, and we want to go to the fight to support him.
Good on you. There was a question from Chris Glover quickly.
Very quickly, right, just go to Chris's thing. Apart from that, so what we've done is we turned it into a family holiday with lots of other stuff as well, and we end up in Dallas. So I can't wait.
So that's via Canada,
Washington, Nashville, Memphis. End up in Dallas, and a lot of driving. Nice. But the whole thing is the end of the holiday or our break is to see Richard hopefully with that world title.
The question from Chris, you touched on it, was: is he excited to go to Texas?
I'm excited to go. I'm excited to go to it. I like the whole concept because I love country and western music, so I'm going to Nashville. Trish wants to see the Niagara Falls. Josh wants to do the Washington thing, which would be great. Go see Elvis in Memphis. I've always wanted to go to the JFK thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to Dallas where they did the film set. So I've got loads of things, and I've got the boxing. So I'm really excited about the whole experience, and I will be really excited for Micky and Richard to win that world title. It will give me as much pleasure as it would for any of my boxers winning a world title, and I pray that he can do it. So the whole thing, I'm so excited. And to finish the last day in America with watching Richard in his world title attempt, it's going to be great.
Yeah. Who does the driving when you're out there? Is that your job?
Me. Quite a bit of driving, a bit of flying, a bit of driving. So, I'm quite happy to drive. I don't want big motorway stretches.
You got a big Cadillac or something?
No, it's got an SUV because there's 5 of us going. Because Josh is bringing Kate, so I'll do the driving. Living might help out a bit, and Josh maybe as well. But I'll do the vast majority of it. So it's great. No, so Chris, I'm looking forward to going to see Richard, and hopefully it rounds off the holiday, winning the world title, and it makes the holiday rounds it off really good.
Excellent. I suspect Chris might even be there because I see.
I hope Chris is there. We could catch up with him because he's a nice guy, Chris, and it'd be great to catch up, have a drink, and it'd be great. Yeah. It'd be great.
No, I mean Micky and Moo, the times I've bumped into him at your shows, a couple of times at parties at your house, just such a nice bloke. Such a nice bloke.
Very loyal. And again, loyalty in boxing, right? That man is so loyal as a man and a human being, and I hope I've done the same for him. And he's a really nice man, and it's a friendship now more than anything else, and it's great that we've been able to achieve that. So we're all, he's a great man, really good man, and he's really supportive. I mean, he's taken Richard Commey, he's invested a lot of his own money in doing this. A lot of his people don't realise, a lot of Micky's own money invested in Richard Commey and Duke Mika, and in the past, and what I can't say, Micky's invested in a lot of fighters, and he's been let down a lot. And if I was him, I'd have given up. Yeah. But he didn't give up. But what he's now done is if you look at it now, he's investing in the Ghanaian fighters, because I think that, and they also reach a high level, but I think because of how it is there, I think there's more, he hasn't got the people trying to steal them from him. So it's not like a big hotbed like it is in the UK, that when you get somebody good here, somebody's always trying to steal them from you. So he's been able to develop that, and they've stayed loyal to him, and he's delivered the goods, and he's done a brilliant job. And Richard just needs to win, and that'd be fantastic.
That's great. All the best to Richard.
I talked about Lomachenko if he wins,
Are they?
Hard task that, but if he wins the world title, for Richard, a Ghanaian, he's going to earn enough money if he fights Lomachenko, I would hope, to set himself up for life. So why not take that chance? And I think that's what win a world title. And if you end up with Lomachenko in a fight or two's time, then you give it a good go, won't he?
And I mean that Robert Easter Jr. fight that they had, that was an incredible fight. It was unlucky to lose that.
But you know what's happened since, and it is he had Carl Loco training him from Ghana, who's a nice man, a good trainer, but he's changed his trainer now in America, and the step up in performance since he has changed his trainer has been exceptional, because no matter how good a trainer you are in Ghana, I think you can there's levels. I think when you're at world level, he's obviously improved massively for a change in trainer, and he's based in the US now. That's only going to help him.
Yeah.
So
I saw Wadi was out yesterday at the Matchroom press conference chasing down.
Wadi,
I saw various interviews, one with her and one with Lawrence Okoli, both of whom referenced Wadi. And
did they?
Yeah, they both said, when these fighters talk about they want the fight, but then when it comes down to it, they price themselves out of it. I think that was pretty much the gist of what both had said.
But you know something about this? Is what I said last week. Pricing themselves out. If I want a BMW, right, or I want to buy a BMW car, and I know that BMW car is worth 30 grand, and somebody wants to charge me 50 grand, I might want a BMW car, but I want it for the right money.
Yeah.
That's the best analogy I can give you. But I'm not going to pay 50 grand if I want the car, if the car's worth 30.
Yeah.
It's a similar type of thing. We've not priced ourselves out of that fight. No way have we priced ourselves out of that fight. And it was just that the money on offer was too low. So it's not about pricing it. You can't just offer what I consider to be undervalued money and then say you price yourself out. You don't price yourself out. We were a bit apart, but there was no negotiating. It was like this offer was really poor. I know what fighters get for fights.
Yeah.
So I know what fighters get.
And it wasn't that.
And it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And as far as we're concerned, it's just to say you price yourself out is just ridiculous, because we've got to remember we covered the Chamberlain thing last week. We didn't price ourselves out of Chamberlain, we took it.
And then the goalpost moved.
And the goalpost moved. So we didn't price ourselves out of that, and we wanted a bit more money for Okoli than we originally agreed for Chamberlain.
Which
do you think? And I'm not
more dangerous fight for a British title?
No, British and Commonwealth unification is worth more than a Commonwealth, right?
Yeah.
So we did not. If I can tell, we did not. We were not looking at substantial. We're talking about more, but not crazy more. Not 20 or 30 grand more. Nothing like that. We just wanted the right money for that fight. It's a unification fight, and I know he said he's a champion, not a challenger as well. He's got a title. We know that wasn't out. So don't say we priced ourselves out. And the second point was on the Okoli fight. We gave them until the 24th to make us an offer and said we'll do a deal if you can go. They made the offer on the 27th, 28th. By that point, it was too late. Yeah. We'd all booked, we all got other commitments now. And now I'm going away. I wouldn't have gone to Dallas if Wadi was fighting Okoli. I booked that. Wadi had a break lined up in January. He booked that. We waited and waited and waited for him to book his break. And he booked it on the 24th. On the end of the 24th, he booked his holiday when they didn't come back with an offer. So let's be real. We didn't price ourselves out, and they didn't meet the deadline that we had to negotiate.
So there you go.
What can I do? He didn't avoid anybody. He still would like. We'll fight Okoli in March, April, May. Happily do it if the money's right. We'll fight Chamberlain. We'll fight Richard Mikapore. We'll fight them all. Just pay the going rate. We don't actually want more than the going rate.
Yeah. Like show at Wembley in April.
He'll fight any of them.
There you go.
Just pay the right money.
Yeah. Talking of fights that aren't happening yet, Billam Smith versus Deion Jumah.
That was disappointing. We put a purse bid in for that, and then the day of the purse bid, we got a call from the board to say they postponed the bids for a month because Billam Smith's injured. So I was disappointed it waited until the day of the purse bid, because we were all ready to go with the purse bid. We actually lodged the bid, sent it off, and obviously day or day before they pulled out with an injury, and then the board have extended that by a month. But remember, the fight only had to take place by the end of April.
I struggle with you want to give your fighter every opportunity to show that he's fit, but leaving it until the day of the purse bids. Like, surely do it a week before,
or 2 weeks before. The purse bids are out a month before.
If you're that unfit that you're that injured that you're not going to make it before the end of April, there's a bigger problem than a 1 month.
See, if I had a fighter out to a purse bid and I knew he wasn't going to make the deadline, the first thing I would do is contact the board immediately and say, I'm really sorry, as a champion, we're not going to be able to meet that deadline.
I'm not saying this
unless they've given him enough, they've tried to see if he's fit enough and given him enough time. Only they know.
I'm not saying it's a situation this one, but there have been other situations that I've heard of where promoters may want to fit in a fight to a TV schedule or try and find a TV slot. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case here, but there could be a possibility that's the.
I mean, there's been lots of occasions in the past where people have delayed purse bids for reasons other than injury, which is where they want to have more time to find out where their own commitments are. That's possible. We can only take them at their word. But the thing that I hope now, because we have the same thing with Taylor Jones, is that we don't get to the purse bid next time and he withdraws.
Yeah.
Because that's just stalling people's careers again.
Which isn't the case with Taylor Jones, is it? At the moment.
No, at the moment he's going on, but as long as he completes the second time.
Yes.
If you, it's the same principle. If you suspend the purse bid because you're not fit, that's fine. We accept it. But please, next month, let's go with a purse bid, and whoever wins, fine. Yeah. Otherwise, you're stalling something.
Rather than on the day in a month's time.
The same with Taylor Jones. He's injured. They're fighting on the 2nd of March. So all things being well, that fight takes place. That's no problem. You accept somebody's injured, but you don't accept it. You wouldn't accept the same scenario a second time, and the same thing again. You wouldn't accept them. It would be wrong if they don't fulfil. If we win the bid, they honour it. If they win the bid, we honour it. But Deion Jumah wants to, he's been training, right? Knowing full well there's a purse bid coming up. If he knew that purse bid was going to be suspended, he wouldn't have been in training. So he's wasted probably 3 weeks of training at the intensity building up towards the show in March or April. So it's wasted.
Because they have to start taking it seriously now, don't they? It's
100%.
You've only got what, 7 weeks?
So therefore that was our date. So the thing was, we got a boxer in training for no reason. If they'd said it earlier, he wouldn't have had to go into training.
Yeah.
So it's a bit disappointing, but unfortunately injuries can happen, and we have to take that as being as it was. But we hope that next time the fight actually there's no withdrawal and there's no messing around, and we'll just get the fight on.
The March show we'll come on to when you get back from your jaunt overseas, I think.
Just only one fight, that's all this week, didn't we?
Which was the
Shinkwin, Kirk, Garvey.
Yeah, which is an interesting one. Like, coming at it from, this is my non-Goodwin boxing part of it. How does Kirk Garvey end up in an English title fight when his last fight was a loss for the Southern area against Andre Sterling? Andre Sterling ends up in a position where he was put in for the British title eliminator, but nobody bid for that, so I guess that's all up in the air as to what happens with him. Like, how does that all...
Well, let's go to the Andre Sterling situation first. When a boxer chooses to go to be a professional boxer, they choose a team.
Yeah.
If you are going to be a championship level fighter or fight for titles, you need a team, whether that be manager, promoter, who when push comes to shove are going to find a way to make sure that these fights happen. K Prosper is an example.
Yeah.
We never let purse bids, so we don't let purse bids go. We make sure there's a way to make fights happen. Andre Sterling here, there was nobody prepared to front that fight, I guess, and so now he's left in limbo.
It was Ricky Summers, wasn't it?
So nobody's bid. Ricky Summers is managed by Errol Johnson, unless they've got so nobody wanted to support that fight, so they're now left.
Which is bizarre. Ricky Summers, Andre Sterling's a good fight.
But you've got to have people. I mean, Ricky's got Errol Johnson as his manager, promoter, so Errol could put it on him. But for some reason, nobody's chosen to do it. But Andre maybe have gambled that they were putting it on because he wasn't.
Yeah.
And then end up nobody puts it on. That's the point. Deion Jumah will put a bid in. We always will put a bid in to secure our boxers. And that's really, really important. But from that point of view, I think it goes back to that's what we offer as a management team, that we will find a way to help our boxers progress through. And boxers have choices to make in their careers, and they need to make sure they have the right team around them. If not, you get to this level of these titles, and I'm afraid it comes and bites you in the bum.
Yeah. So going back, I mean, it's not taking anything away from Kirk Garvey.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we make representations to the board. This is a voluntary rather than a mandatory.
Yeah.
So there's a bit more leniency on a voluntary. I think the board take into account the fact he was an ABA champion.
He's a good fighter.
They take into account it was a close fight.
It was a close fight, yeah.
When we proposed it to the board, we thought it was a spin up as to whether it got approved. The board turned down as many as they accept. They do. They turned down lots of fights. This one they've decided, the committee has decided that I think it's a good fight for the English title, a really good fight. And they decided that there's nobody else come forward to try and do the fight. We've received no offers for Miles from anybody else because we were open to offers. So we've had a month with no offers, and we've come up with a fight. The only offer we've had is Kirk Garvey. And so that was the offer we had. So if somebody else had come up that would have been supposedly a better fight, we would have done that.
Yeah.
But again, the board will take into account what's better, to give Miles a chance of defending his title, or to just let the title sit vacant. So I think Kirk is of that ability level, but his resume at the moment is as a failed Southern Area challenger. But he's a live fight for Miles. I think it's a great fight.
But didn't he beat Sam Smith for the title?
No, he won that as an eliminator.
Oh, did he? Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's not.
He's won 10-round fight. So
it's taking nothing away from Sam Smith. Kirk Garvey whatsoever, because I think he's a really good fighter. Andre Sterling's a really good fighter. Miles Shinkwin's a really good fighter.
Well, the point that you've got is Andre Sterling, Southern Area champion, beats a guy who's now got a shot at the English.
Yeah.
That's called. But then when Miles Shinkwin got the English title, people were saying, "How's he get this shot?"
Yeah.
But sometimes it's about
good management.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being able to move the pieces,
like the chess pieces around in the little.
Yeah. It's great. What date's that going on?
2nd of March, alongside Lionel Shadofia Taylor-Jones.
Wow. And then you've got Dave Birmingham, Liam Dillon, you've got Daniel Mendes, Danny Cousins. March. Even the Jordan Joseph Tracy Clare Fight Cup final. Yeah.
It's a really pile of and you've got the on the 9th we've got three. We've got Liam Dillon, you've got the
Mendes Cousins,
and there is another Southern Area which is Sean Robinson, Joshua Jacoby. So what a good lot. So 2 title fights on the first, 3 title fights on the second, and 2 title fights on the third one.
Yeah.
And then we've also got another show on the 23rd of March, which we're working on at the moment at York Hall. So that's 4 Saturdays in a row at York Hall.
Dave Evans will be busy.
He's going to be very busy.
You forget all about his Brexit bollocks by the end of the shows.
We just had a Brexit chat upstairs, haven't we?
Yeah, well, it turns out I'm on a stag do in Benidorm the weekend Brexit happens, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be. I don't think we'll be. I don't think we'll be at the end of March.
No new signings to announce this week?
With the following new signings, as I said last week, yes, I've signed 3 new boxers in the last week. The problem is all going through the application process. And when you announce them, you get other people track them down, ring them up and try and persuade them not to sign. So we've got to the stage now, we've taken a policy not to announce.
Yeah.
Because it causes this aggravation.
So you've got them, you've got the paperwork, you've
all done, all got hearings, all going through. We just no longer announce them when we sign them. But we've got. I told you one of them today.
Yeah.
It's quite an exciting signing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
well known,
a left field, but good name.
Yeah, so we signed that, and there's another good name we're seeing this week. So we've got.
Who's that? I don't know that one.
You do the one. So a meeting down in. We said he's changed management, and you just made a joke upstairs about.
Oh, I thought that was him. Okay, right.
The weight thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
And then we've got some new signings. One of whom's won 5 amateur titles.
Yeah.
One's won 2 amateur titles. One's a big punching higher weight prospect. I've got a heavyweight to sign tomorrow.
Good.
Another heavyweight. We've got people coming to us and we're working hard with them. Loads of signings, loads of things, but I just won't announce them anymore.
Yeah. Where's Dave Abraham?
Coming back on the 2nd of March.
Is he?
He's changed trainer from Tony Pill.
Has he? Where's he gone?
He's gone to a chap at his old amateur club down in Finchley.
Don't leave Tony Pill. Tony Pill's the man.
But yeah, so he's now gone to another trainer. So he's back out in March. So he's working hard, and hopefully he'll go to 7-0 and keep building. But we've got a good team. We've actually got a good little bunch of heavyweights now.
Yeah.
I'm quite excited about heavyweights. I've always wanted to get a heavyweight and turn in champs. The only heavyweight I've managed 3 heavyweights who have been progressive. I managed Ali Adams, where we give him the shot with Audley Harrison.
Yeah.
I managed Ian Lewison for a while, but he just wouldn't get fit. And I managed Tom Little for a short time when he was in Prize Fighter.
Yeah.
So I've never actually, in my opinion, had a heavyweight that I think can get to the top class. And I think we're starting to build a few heavyweights now that will get us up to title level, and I'm quite excited about that.
Heavyweights bring attention, don't they? As much as it sounds like a casual boxing fan, that's what happens. Is all the other weights are great. I've no issue with them. They all have, cruiserweights are brilliant because they're just athletic. Heavyweights, middleweights got the speed, but heavyweights, people love a heavyweight.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I do too. Yeah, and I used to watch heavyweights when I was not involved in boxing. I always wanted to get a good heavyweight. So. I think there are potentially, I've got a couple that could be very good, so we'll just have to see how things develop.
Alright. We'll move on to the questions for this week. Where are we at? Question from Rob Brennan, I like this one. When Steve visits gyms and boxers, do they roll out the red carpet for him or expect him to pay for lunch?
Depends on where you go. I'm going to Barry O'Connell's on Friday.
Yeah.
And he's already said, I'm going to buy it. So so I'll go and meet the boxer. We'll all go for lunch and we'll all sit together. So I often take Barry for lunch, he'll take me for lunch, so that works out. When I go to Don Charles's gym, we don't normally go for lunch, we just have meetings in their rooms and a spa, and we just sit there and drink water and tea and coffee. So we do that. Xavier Miller's, we just sit there and have chats and meetings. I tend to do most of my, as I say, I go and meet boxers for lunch often, or dinner when they come up here, whatever. So, but I tend to do that more one-on-one than when I go to the gyms. The only gym where I go and out and sit and have drinks and food with them is normally Barry's gym.
Right.
But other than that, we normally do meetings in meeting rooms and stuff like that.
When you see Xavier, is that in Leesden?
Yeah.
That's where I did my seconds course.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
He's a great man. He's a really, really good. The stable's expanding.
Yeah. It's a good little setup, that place as well.
Really, really good. I signed another heavyweight, signed one that's what's going through at the moment. That's with Xavier as well.
Okay.
And he's quite excited. You want to watch him? He's half here. And, so we've really got. I think we've got 3 heavyweights in transit have been signed at the moment.
Okay, and that's on top of Abraham,
John Pilata, Omar Macau.
Yeah.
So we're really George Fox.
Yeah, that's true.
So we've really started. So by the time we finish, I think it's 7 heavyweights we'll have.
Ooh, so let's do a little fight cup.
Yeah, well, there's too much money in there. If you build a heavyweight right, the money is there. So with the fight cups, that works for non-ticket sellers who are in weight categories where the bigger heavyweights. If you build it right, you can make them all good money. That's our plan.
Let's move on. Yestons.
Oh, and Phil Williams, who's on the road, but
he moved Fabio Wardley.
Yeah. So we got that.
He did all right in that.
Yeah. So that's 8 heavyweights we got, including Phil. I'm not thinking Phil because I'm thinking of the prospects rather than the road fighters. Yeah.
Yeah, he did all right in that Fabio Wardley fight.
Fabio's good.
Fabio's a good fighter, isn't he?
Yeah, very good fighter.
Yestins on Twitter. If Steve had a TV deal, who would he like as a commentary duo? Naz.
Do you know what? I actually don't. When you actually try and get people to be commentators, you've got to look and see who do you think is really good.
Commentary is a really hard, underrated skill, I think. Because I did that MTK one. You suddenly realise you're so self-conscious as you're talking through a fight.
I think it's really hard. I don't think there's anybody to me that stands out. If I was doing that, I would probably, it sounds crazy, I would probably hold an open audition for commentators, including ex-boxers, and I would do a show where I asked them all to commentate a few rounds of each, and I would pick from there. So I would do a thing was I would advertise for a commentary team and get new voices, but ones that I think are very good. There are people out there, ex-boxers and people I know. Now, for example, I think who would make a brilliant commentator? Frank Buglioni.
Yes.
Brilliant analyst. I think he'd be fantastic.
Nah, you want him in front of the camera as well, though, because he's a good-looking bloke, decent pundit.
But I'm saying I think Frank would be good. So there's a lot of other boxers that I've dealt with I think would be really, really good for that role.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I do it. I don't think I would pluck one from Sky or that one from BT Sport. I think I would try to set up a whole new thing.
If you could nick one, Mike Costello. He's great. Yeah. He's great on the radio.
Yeah, I'm thinking TV. Yeah, the radio. He's good. Yeah. No, he's very good. I'll tell you what I used to really love as a boxing commentator was Ian Darke.
Yes.
I like Ian Darke. So if you said of the traditional ones, I'd bring Ian Darke back.
Yeah. Andy Lee's been quite good. I've enjoyed it.
Lee's not bad.
But again, I think that's the ex-boxer thing, a fresh voice coming in.
That's what I think you need. But Ian Darke, I would quite happily have Ian Darke as a lead commentator with somebody new on the side. But yeah, it's difficult. I'm not over impressed with the Sky ones. No, they're okay, but I'm just saying, if you said to me, I'd rather try and get somebody fresh better.
I like Malignaggi when he comes in.
Yeah.
Because also, as stupid as it sounds, like Malignaggi and Andy Lee have that twang in their voice that says, I'm a fighter.
Yeah,
like that kind of Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
That's a fucking terrible accent. But Malignaggi's got that, and Andy Lee's got that kind of Irish twang about him that it gives you that impression they're a fighter. They know. But
I think I would rather do it fairly fresh or bring someone like Ian Darke back who a lot of people wouldn't even know as a boxing commentator. So
there you go. UK Boxing 1 on Twitter. We've got a couple more from him later on. I know for small hall it's different, but let's say a fighter on a big Sky or BT fight night purse is £250,000. After paying his percentage to a cornerman, cutsman, nutritionist, strength and conditioning coach, manager, promoter, which is left off here as well, and the dreaded word tax, what would you say the final amount they take home is off of 250?
Right, so let's go through it.
It's shocking when you start breaking these things down.
If you're under a promotional deal, so this would depend. So these are the potential costs.
Yeah.
If you're under a promotional deal with certain promoters, and you fight on somebody else's show, you could have to pay 20% of your purse
straight away.
So let's assume, I'm going to create a very bad scenario here, but let's assume it's all as bad as it is.
And it's worth noting, before you start doing this scenario, when you say like 20% of the purse, so 50 grand off 250, when you then say the next person takes 10%, that's not off of 200, that's off the 250 still. So you're still taking off the big number. So it's worth just noting that before we
go down to 200.
Yeah.
Okay. You've then got the trainer. Now, a lot of boxers, the trainer's standard rate is 10%. A lot of boxers, when they earn more money, will renegotiate that trainer's percentage down.
Yeah.
But let's assume, I know a lot of them will take the 10%, but let's assume
7.5%.
7.5%, right? So that's 22.
Yeah.
So we're now down to
170.
That's 20 grand. Sorry, 20 grand. Yeah. So let me down.
180 grand.
It's 180 grand, right? So you then got the manager. Standard managers 25%. Some will take 25%. Some will take less.
Let's call it 20.
Let's call it 20. No, but that's 20 grand. Let's say if you call 20%, you wouldn't take it off the top. So let's call that 40 grand.
All right.
What are we down to now?
140.
40. You then want a cutsman in the corner.
Yeah.
1,000 quid. 139. You've then got the hiring of sparring partners and costs of training camp. 20 grand.
Yeah.
What are we down to now?
119.
And they were then a 40% taxpayer. So that's 50 grand. So he's walking around with about 70 grand.
Yeah. Out of that 250 start. So under 33% of...
If all of those are paid at those levels. Yeah. So that gives you an idea of what you pay. Now again, we don't take that, percentage management. I'm very wary of these other costs, so if you look at things, you might be able to trim some of those costs down. You might not, if it's on your own promoter show, you won't have to pay the 20%, but it's not as good as it seems.
Yeah, but that's one scenario, and it could be up, it could be down on that.
Correct, but it gives you an idea of where you think. So it's not as good as you think.
Yeah, interesting that one. Riku on Twitter, lead right. I don't know if you can answer this or not really. What are your thoughts on Liam Cameron's 4-year ban?
Right. Now, I don't know Liam's specific case. I know that I was involved with Ali Adams when he got banned because I went to the UCAD hearing. So I've had experience of dealing with UCAD and the rules, but I don't know Liam's individual example.
From what I understand of it, but don't take this verbatim, he was caught with trace amounts of cocaine in his system, which he put down to handling tainted banknotes, potentially, or from the water of where he lived. Those were his reasons. Take that at face value. I'm not going to judge that. He was offered, I believe, a plea deal where if he pled guilty, he'd get 1 year, and if he pleaded not guilty still, then they'd give him 4 years. Like they were going to give him a ban, but those were the offers given. One, if you say I'm guilty, it's 1 year. If you say I'm not guilty, you're going to get 4 years. That's kind of what I understand of it.
I'm quite surprised the gap is so different. When I went with Ali Adams, is that we had a plea deal at the time. And but there was at that time the 2-year ban was divorceable. So let's look at where we stand. The rules clearly state in the UK, if you are caught with anything in your system, irrelevant to how it gets there, it's a 4-year ban. Bomb.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what you get banned for. They are the rules. So they don't care whether it's from banknotes, water, food, meat, contaminated meat.
Which is if you're caught by UCAD, not in the scenario of Billy Joe Saunders where you had WADA, I think it was.
Different.
that's where it all starts to get really mucky and murky as an uneducated person in all this.
Because Billy Joe Saunders
got a 6 month ban.
Billy fought, and so the problem that you've got with drugs, let's be honest, is that
it wasn't a 6 month ban, was it? It was a 6 month suspended WBO thing or something like that.
But it's not consistent, is it?
No,
it's not consistent. And look at Canelo.
Yeah.
So I feel the problem that Liam has is he's signed up under the UK system, which is harsher. Is harsher than some of these other systems, but unfortunately that's the system we're signed up for.
Yeah.
So they are the rules. So the point blank thing is, if you get done or something's in your system, it's 4 years.
Yeah, and the board just enforce what they're told by UK.
The boards don't do the board; they enforce. So what then happens, as far as my understanding is, if you go and you fight the case, then they've got to go through a whole routine of going for you. What I think that they tend to do is they look and say, look, you're going to get done. You're going to get done. It's in your system. I don't care if it's water, I don't care if it's banknotes, I don't care if it's meat, food stuff, nasal spray. You're going to get done. However, we're looking at your case and we think it's probably not as bad as some other cases, but we've got no leniency on 4 years if we have to try you. So therefore, they have the right to say, look, if you plead guilty to what you've got, we'll reduce it to 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 18 months, 6 months, whatever they feel is appropriate.
Yeah.
I don't know who advised him, but you should have pleaded guilty. In my opinion, pleading guilty would have reduced the sentence. If it was a 1 year sentence that was being offered for pleading guilty.
Especially if they backdated to the failed date.
Correct, because knowing full well, if you look at history, you don't get off. You don't really get off.
I mean, the stupid thing is, I'm not saying Liam's stupid in it, because he's done it morally, and I understand that. It's the same.
Do you know what I'm saying? The fact he fought it, I actually believe that he's probably telling the truth.
Yeah, and I think morally, fantastic for him, but it doesn't help your career. Like, if he's saying he's got to retire on the back of this.
So I'm saying that's the point. The point with it is, totally agree. Look, the fact he's fought it, I believe he's trying to clear his name. However, sometimes in life, I have a thing that I say to everybody: choose the battles to fight.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes in life, you have to, you can. Going back to my analogies again. And I often have it. You have rows with the wife at home. I often do, right? I'm often in the right. But sometimes I just accept I'm wrong and I plead guilty when I'm not guilty.
Yeah.
Why? I have an easier life, I have a nicer evening, I have a nicer weekend, I have a nicer life. But I'm not necessarily really guilty.
And you can walk out at the end going, I know the outcome really.
Yeah, but I know that if I fight it, I'm going to get to hell. So I would say, okay, I'm guilty, it's my fault. It's not my fault, but I accept it's my fault.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's any different in any walk of life. If you know you're not going to win the battle, just get out of it.
Because after 1 year or after 4 years, the outcome's still the same. You've still served the drugs ban. And on paper, you're still.
I know it looks really different. Dylan White got banned. He's like highly regarded. Does it really? So I think if that's the situation, and I really don't know the case, if I was Liam's manager or advisor, I would have been sitting down to him having this conversation and said, Liam, take the 1 year. Yeah. Let's just take the 1 year, try to get it backdated to the time when you've not been able to fight. See whether we can get it as low as possible. Let's get it done and kick on with
it. And you can tell all your mates you didn't do it.
So I've had to do this guilt because this is why I did it.
Yeah.
And issue a statement saying I pleaded guilty because it was the right thing. That's my view of it. So my view of it is I don't believe in that instance, and again, it doesn't sound like he's made the right decision.
Sometimes you have to be pragmatic about
rather than I understand why he's fighting something that he believes he's innocent of.
James S. on Twitter: white collar boxing, is it becoming far more organised and a genuine alternative in some cases for boxers turning pro?
Right, an alternative depends on what you want. I think if you look at, say, Queensbury.
Let's layer it first. So you got white collar boxing of the stuff that I've done, which is
just
short training camps, go and throw punches at each other.
People make loads of money out of it.
Where other people are making shitloads
of money,
and then charity get donations and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then there's unlicensed, which is a hybrid almost between being a proper professional and doing white collar boxing. So I think that the thing about this is England boxing have come out last week.
I know, with an unlicensed thing.
And said, no, they're white collar.
White collar, I know.
But turn up and do 8 weeks training. Like England boxing.
I know.
Who for years have fought against it. And it almost seems, if you can't beat them, join them.
There's more money. Look, if I was going to promote, if I decided boxing, I'm going to quit becoming involved in professional boxing, and I tomorrow turn into white collar boxing unlicensed, I'm telling you, I'd make real good money.
I remember you came to my white collar fight, looked around the place,
and I said, "Oh my God, there's fortunes to be earned, right?
Yeah.
The money to be earned is colossal." Why do I do professional boxing? Because I believe that that's where my passion is, and that's what I want. It's not about money for me, but I can see why people do it and organise it. But what does it do? I think what it's useful for is if I get a fighter, if you get a fighter that wants to become a professional boxer, and he's not sure whether he's going to sell tickets, and not sure whether he's not going to get a TV deal, it's sometimes useful purely as a tester. To go into to see, oh, okay, this is how I can sell tickets. This is what I do. Yes, it works, because if you turn professional and find that you don't sell tickets, you've spent a lot of money. Yeah. So I can understand people having one or two as a bridge, if you know what I mean. But I don't believe it's an alternative for those that aren't good enough.
I'm still saying.
Yeah, you're not good enough.
That's fair.
And those people that want to do that want to do it, I suppose it's there for a purpose. I don't actually agree with unlicensed boxing, but that's because I'm committed to professional boxing. But I understand why it exists. I understand why people do it. I can see the financial benefits of those who organise it. So I understand why it's there. But an alternative,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, for the England boxing side of it, I can kind of see they're going to... If I were them, I would be saying we're going to regulate it, we're going to make it more organised, we're going to start taking names, numbers, contact details of people, and we're going to make sure it's safer. Yeah. If I was them, that's the route I would be doing it. But they're a charity, aren't they? Or I'm sure they get funded.
They're funded.
And they get funded by the number of participants that are taking part in their sport. Suddenly you've got all these people that will go, oh, I'll do a white collar. They sign up as participants.
And they may be able to increase that to the fund. I don't know the fund. So
that'd be my guess.
I think it's being done for money. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that either.
It's certainly not being done for philanthropic reasons.
I don't agree with that.
Interesting. UK Boxing 1. As a young small hall fighter up and coming, can the lack of financial incentive, not saying that you underpay at all, and lucrative sponsorship opportunities make early parts of their career disheartening and subsequently make themselves lose faith in it?
Yes. Simple one-word answer.
Many people have fallen out of the sport, haven't they?
It's really tough, and I think it's so hard because you've got to understand what you're walking into. And what we do with our fighters when we sign up, we tell... Unfortunately, what happens is a fighter turns professional, and too many people want them to sign on the dotted line, so they don't give them the truth.
Yeah.
And then what we do is not one of our boxers can ever say they weren't told the truth. So they know exactly what they're walking into when they start.
All they've got to do is watch this. You told them on here what the truth is.
It's hard. But the thing is, the rewards can be great and the benefits can be good. But yes, you do get boxers that get disillusioned. We don't get too many of ours that disillusioned because we try and support them. But if a fighter turns around and says, after he's done 2 fights, oh, I can't do tickets anymore, or gives up, then there's nothing you can do. If he doesn't want to sell tickets and doesn't want to go on the road and doesn't want to go 50-50 fights,
there's not a pot of money somewhere.
So I'm afraid you haven't got
a benevolent fund for boxers that can't sell tickets. It's not there, is it?
Although we are developing a couple of things, as you know, which is going to help those sort of fighters.
Yeah.
So we are working on things at the moment where fighters... But it won't be helping them throughout the quiz. It can help them with an odd fight here and there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they could, but they've still got the principle of it. But we can still help them out. So we're developing something where we should be able to start helping them out, some out on an ad hoc basis.
Yeah.
But they've still got to go back to. I don't want a fighter coming to me saying, "I can't sell tickets. I need your help on every fight, and I want my career built." That doesn't happen. So they've got to understand it. If you don't, and I always say to them when they come to see me, this is how it is. You've got 2 jobs. You've got the fighting job, we've got the marketing job. We have 2 jobs. We help you with the marketing, but we have 2 jobs. If you're a good fighter and no good at marketing, don't turn pro. If you're good at marketing but you're no good at fighting, don't turn pro.
Yeah.
Because all you'll do is sell tickets, make money, but you're not going to be good enough. Don't do either. You need both. If you're not going to do both and be good at both, don't do it. I can't be fairer. So anybody that's disillusioned, if they've come to sign with us, shouldn't be disillusioned because they knew exactly what they signed up to at the start. But I understand that other boxers who haven't been told the truth, why they get disillusioned.
Yeah. That's fair.
Is that an answer?
Final one again from UK Boxing 1. This is a bit. This could take a while to run through. I'll try and cut it down a bit. Steve's thoughts on Hearn and Warren's dates for regular Sky and BT fight nights. Taking out Next Gens and DAZN, I had something like 10 for Hearn and 9 for Frank. I'm sure Eddie used to promise 20 regular nights, now 16, as did Frank when he signed with BT. Are they lying about the number of dates they have? Nobody's lying, Your Honour. Or financially, are they deciding it's better not to do them? It's quite long-winded, that one.
Right. The problem I've got here is I'm not Sky and I'm not BT. I'm also not Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren, so it would be totally wrong for me to comment on something that I have no knowledge about.
Pure conjecture.
Pure conjecture. It's a really good question. Really good question. I just don't have the answer and I don't have the knowledge, so I'll just be making things up if I answered that.
Yeah.
It tends to be that the amount of fights that are done don't happen, and it may be that the TV network that is the intention, but then the TV network cuts back. It may be that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, there's so many moving parts in it, aren't there? Because when Hearn signed the last Sky deal and he came out, he gave big numbers. I'm not going to say what they were because I can't remember and I didn't research it, but he gave big numbers of how many fight nights, and those fight nights would each have world title fights. There was an interview that he was doing with Adam Smith, I think, at the time, where he went through all of that. When he did that, I doubt he could have foreseen DAZN coming along within 24 months and offering him massive amounts of money to go and spread his stable overseas, both in America, Italy, Germany, potentially elsewhere as well. So there were so many moving cogs. I had a sympathy. I had a sympathy to some extent that how can you forecast what you're going to be doing in 2 years when something like that comes along, which is a massive opportunity?
It's going to dilute what you're doing.
Of course it is.
Because he needs the fighters to go aboard.
You haven't got the stable. Al Heyman's got a stable of like 120 odd fighters of that high level that you can kind of spread around the US for the fight days.
Totally.
Hearn doesn't have that because he's never needed that. He's never grown his stable to do that, which you suspect that DAZN deal kind of came out of the blue a little bit, because if he'd have known about it 2 years in advance, he would have probably started to put some meat into the stable. So now he's got Liam Smith coming in. He's had Robbie Davis Jr., those kind of names. But are they going to end up as B-sides over in America, potentially in the future?
But also, if you look at the show that they're doing at the O2 at the beginning of February, they've announced the Ted Cheeseman European title fight.
Yeah.
But how many of the other fighters have got, well, you might tell me because I didn't listen to the press conference yesterday, how many of the other fighters have got opponents in concrete fights yet?
I'm trying to think who's on it. There's
Coley?
Bull Richards.
Bull Richards, yeah, that's a good fight.
There's Coley.
Because obviously...
I can't remember what's even on it.
Well, the thing is, if they...
Cash versus the other fella for the Commonwealth.
Oh, is that okay?
Can't remember his name, but...
Okay, so Phillies Cash for the Commonwealth's a good fight. Okay, so it's a solid little card.
It's an alright card. And I'm warm into Hearn at the moment. I have moments where I'm cold and I'm warm on him, but that kind of card, and he was explaining why it's at the O2 and they're shutting off the top tier of it, and he was giving some of the costing information. Kind of made a bit of sense.
We've got Dan Azaxa on that.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, forgot to announce that at the start. Dan Azaxa's on the Matchroom card.
Nice.
We always try to get fighters on these big cards. I should have mentioned that. So yeah, Dan Azaxa's on there.
Good. He was meant to be on the Joshua one.
Yeah, but this time but with the Joshua one, he was just a float that wasn't certain to get on. Yeah. He is going to get on this time, so that's good. So I'm really glad that Dan has got a chance on there. We managed to get him on, so that's good.
Yeah. So it seems like Hearn's kind of he's having to harvest these young lads now, and he give them that big show opportunity and try and make something of the young ones that he's got in the stable to bring through, because the older ones are kind of falling out a bit now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, Brooks not got many years left in him. Bellew's gone now. Khan.
You do look at the roster, and you think he's got another year before the Olympians go through the next cycle. So you'd argue he's a little bit thin on the ground in certain departments.
Especially when you're trying to, go and do land grabs in and all these other places.
But I think, as I said to you before, I think that everybody's criticising big promoters, but I think he does a really good job.
Yeah.
And they look after their fighters. So, and fighters, I know fighters, we've had fighters with him, he looks after them.
Yeah.
But you've just got to obviously negotiate well with him and get the right deals. But he does a good job, and I think it's very difficult. I mean, it's not an O2 card, right? But in the old days, that would be a very good fight night card. However, I think the expectation level, if you give an expectation that he gave, which was about
putting world title fights on fight nights,
then you're going to, if you raise those expectations, you're going to disappoint. It's like if you take your missus to Swiss London restaurants, £150 a head, and she's used to it, and then you take her down the Harvester, she might be a bit gutted, and disappointed. But if she's used to going to the Harvester,
it's true.
It's exactly the same thing. And I have a thing with that. I know promoters need to overtalk things, and I think it's important to try and overtalk your fighters. But if you try and overtalk what you're going to do and you don't achieve that, there's always going to be disappointed people. So I'd much rather
overpromise and underdeliver is the risk, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. But it's an okay card. I'm alright with it.
It's alright. Well, the Richards fight's a good fight. No, I think it sounds a good fight. It sounds good. I mean, cashing in Commonwealth, so it's a step up for him.
Garcia Cheeseman.
Well, see the cash thing though. They snitched that cash fight from Elliot Matthews, didn't they? Apparently.
Allegedly.
Do you know anything about that? Do you know anything about it?
I know Elliot Matthews was meant to be fighting for it.
Twice, I think, wasn't it?
And then
I don't know what's gone on. I don't know what the hell's gone on, but all I'm saying is it's just a very weird setup that if you have somebody under contract...
Yeah. And Elliot Matthews didn't seem to know anything about it until it was announced Felix Cash is fighting for the title he thought he was.
I'd be very disappointed if that happened to one of my fighters.
Yeah. So I hope Elliot's taking enough action
to see what's happened. I mean, no, he's a nice guy. I met him a few times.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy. I just find it really strange because if you've got a contract, unless the Commonwealth have given it, because Elliot Matthews pulled out injured, unless the Commonwealth have said, look, I don't know why the fight didn't happen, but they are alleging that it was something to do with the blood, some problem with the opponent. But if the promoter or the boxer has made an error, then the Commonwealth may have just said, you've messed up, he's not waiting for you again, we're going to give him a bigger payday.
But this is the same belt that was on Liam Cameron, wasn't it? That he got stripped off.
But I've got to be honest, I've dealt with the Commonwealth Council and Simon Block on many occasions. In fact, I've got a message ringing, as you know, I've got a message ringing back now. The man's very honourable, decent. He would not do the wrong thing. He does the right thing. So I've got to say, he's been in all the things I've had with him, the man's an honourable, decent man. Good. So I can only assume that somebody has made a bit of a faux pas here.
Yeah. Tell them to sort out their website. I don't like the Commonwealth.
It's not
terrible, isn't it?
No. They need And the British Boxing Board of Control's the same. Simon used to have Robert Smith's job, didn't he?
Yes.
So maybe they've got the same website designer. But I think those websites do need an overhaul.
At least the British Boxing Board of Control one's up to date.
You can see who the champions are.
Yeah. The Commonwealth's terrible. Like not just the layout, but the content.
And I agree.
Simon, if you're watching, sort it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least the British Boxing Board one is up to date.
You can see who the champions are.
Yeah, it's not. You look at it on your phone, and it's all.
It's not up to date. With the boxers manager section, that's not up to date.
No,
you can't track down which manager, which boxer anymore. It used to be really up to date. It's not anymore. So that needs to be brought up to date. But I think it's I think they're overstretched. So it's just how it is.
All right, that's it. We're finished.
That's it. So by the time I come back, Dana's going to fought on the Matchroom show. So hope Dana looks good because he's excited to watch, isn't he, Dana? So I'm hoping they buy into him. And then there's a couple of other things. Will be
new show that you'll be able to talk about at the end of March.
Yeah.
New fighters.
Yeah. Loads to talk about when we get back.
And you can talk about Richard Commey winning the world title.
Hopefully.
All being well. Right. Enjoy America.
Cheers. Thanks, Brian.
And we'll see you in February.
Excellent.
Cheers.
See you later.